Hi, I'm Alana.
Hello, I'm Roly.
And today we're talking about queer bodies.
Am I? I don't know yet.
Body image and what's deemed as attractive can vary in different communities, and there's a lot of pressure and stereotypes that a lot of LGBTQ people feel that they have to fit into. I wonder how you feel that affects people in the LGBTQ plus community.
So it's a hard one because so many people have different ideas of what, you know, they should look like and what they should do.
There's a lot of kind of images in magazines and videos and stuff of gay men where they're sort of primed and perfect, buff bodies. And do you think that's where that pressure comes from?
I think it's a mix of things. I think for my personal story, seeing these people wasn't a bad thing, like, because it was like, that was attractive to me and that was what I liked. It was the community as a whole, other people seeing it and then thinking that's what everyone else should look like. I'm realistic. I think I've never really been that kind of person that goes, you know, I'm going to judge you basically on what you look like. It's other people's views of seeing these bodies and stuff. It wasn't necessarily mine that affected me so much.
And that's a lot of pressure to have all those worries on top of, you know, just trying to accept yourself as a person. Because all young people growing up, regardless of their gender or their sexuality, start to trying to discover themselves and who they are as a person. So you've got all of that on top of trying to work out what is your gender and what is your sexuality and do I fit in? And I guess that's the same for girls coming out. Maybe there might be a gay woman who feels that she has to be a lipstick lesbian or a butch lesbian, and you know, so it's very hard.
Like within the LGBT community, we've got lots of different terminologies like twink, bear, otter, all these different things. So when I was younger, because I wasn't buff and I wasn't, you know, muscular at all, I would be like, I have to be a twink because I was young, I had like blonde hair and it was like the perfect twink sort of body. But I had to stay skinny for it. That was the thing, you have to be skinny. So I did develop quite a bad eating disorder through that. And that's a very damaging thing for a lot of young people because it's like, if you're not within these different binaries, it's like, I'm not right, I'm not real, I'm not accepted. So for a long time I did that. Luckily enough for me, now in my life, that I've balanced it out very, very well. But growing up, it was very different. For me now, I exercise because it keeps me on track, not because I'm trying to be this ideal body. So I'm lucky in that way. But to a lot of people, if you don't have that good like mindset of not everyone can look like this, like the most people don't look like that. Fine, it's fine. You don't have to be like to be accepted.
You know, when you're telling me all of this, I can almost feel the pressure coming from everywhere, but actually all of this pressure is about acceptance. But the biggest thing is accepting yourself.
Yeah. I find it quite difficult to accept the fact that I am non-binary because I didn't know what any people really when I was growing up. There was no one in my life who was like androgynous or anything like that. So to me, I had to look androgynous in order to identify as non-binary. And now that I'm open and I can realise that that's not how it is, like I'm fine with the way I look. But when I came out as gender fluid, it was like a thing of people would look at me and be like, but you look like a man. And so that was a long journey for me to discover that. Because I didn't know anyone who was, well, like me, there was no one. I went to YouTube, so finding these people on YouTube and being able to see all these other lives and people actually growing up and stuff, that was very, very helpful to me, and I think to a lot of young people. You
know, we've been talking a lot about the perfect body and looking right and body image and making everything perfect. And I think for trans people, that could be even more difficult.
It's a very tricky thing, and I think society, we're getting quite good at rights and stuff, but like society is still very much like, we'll just instantly be like, you're you're not passing. For people to be able to be like, I'm this gender, but I don't look it. I can't even imagine like what that must feel like. So yeah, it's more, I think a lot of that comes to society's idea of what male and female should look like, and it's just so unfair to so many people. And it's fine if you look like that, and it's perfectly good, but don't just assume that everyone has to look like that. Like that's the whole point. Like, who are you to tell someone else how to look? Just because your idea of what male looks like doesn't fit with this one person doesn't mean they can't identify as that. And then people always think as well, like, you have to have like the full surgery to be able to be identified as the gender. It's like, well, that's completely different thing. What goes on down there is completely different what goes on up here. Don't think of it like that. Don't think of what's got someone got downstairs, like, has nothing to do with you, like nothing at all.
That's a really important point. So I think that from everything that we've been talking about, we're really trying to say, try not to obsess too much about what you should look like, and really be yourself and try to accept yourself and be as comfortable as you can be. And no matter what, whoever you are, that's okay. And don't forget, you can always talk to Childline about any of the issues that have come up. So thank you, Roly, so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Not at all.
See you next time.